Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 647. 6 stories for 7 a.m., getting you the real summary of what's going on, not the fake news. And just because that issue of fake news is brought up, I just got to tell you something. We are 647, okay? There's lots of stories today about a site called 764, which is a dark website, violent, online, targeting kids, getting them to take naked pictures of themselves, and then extorting them unless they pay $500. So that's a terrible thing, 764. We are 647. Please remember that, because the truth starts here. And our opening story has to do with a fantastic singer and songwriter, Smokey Robinson. And Smokey is in some Smokey trouble right now, okay? And it reminds me of one of his songs. I don't care if they start to avoid me. I don't care what they do. I don't care about anything else but being with you, being with you, being with you. Oh, Smokey, man, say it isn't so. 4 of his housekeepers got one attorney, and they are coming after Smokey, and all 4 of them claim that between 2007 and 2024, he raped them all repeatedly and abused them physically and threatened them and held their money back. And the threats were because they were illegal immigrants. And so these 4 women are coming for Smokey now. These are the 4 horsewomen of Smokey's apocalypse. And I don't get it. I mean, at least Arnold got a son out of the deal, sleeping with his Mexican housekeeper. But what is the deal with these Hollywood elites jumping on their housekeepers? I don't have a housekeeper, so I don't know what this compelling desire is when you have somebody around your house cleaning up, that you just got to jump their bones. I don't get it. I thought most of these guys are supposed to be gay anyway, but whatever. This is going to be bad. There is smoke all over Smokey, and it's going to get hot. And it happens to remind me of another great hit. Now there's some sad things known to man, but ain't too much sadder than the tears of a clown when there's no one around. Smokey, you the clown, man. No one around, you jumping on the housekeepers. This is not going to end well. But I don't want you to think that Smokey's the super bad guy. You want to find super bad guys, you got to go to New York City. And man, we found one. Last week, 38-year-old Jorge Gonzalez, just a hardworking guy trying to support his family. He's riding the R train home at 8 o'clock at night after work, and he dies of natural causes in the subway car. Nobody around, just slumps over, and it's over. It turns out he had serious cirrhosis of the liver from too much drinking, and life just got the best of this poor guy. But it's not over for Jorge, okay? So he's dead on the subway. 8 o'clock. Nobody even sees this guy till 10 o'clock. A woman comes in the subway car, sees he's not moving. She doesn't call 911. She doesn't try to help. She looks around and starts going through his pockets to take anything of value. Don't you love this New York City stuff? All right, so she leaves at 10 o'clock, and nobody comes in now until 11:45. This guy's been there almost 4 hours dead with no one intervening on his behalf. So who comes in but 44-year-old Felix Loverboy Rojas of Brooklyn fame? He comes in, looks around, does the same thing the woman did. Never occurred to him to call 911, not to try to help out, not to shake this guy's shoulder. No, he starts going through his pockets. And then he comes up with another idea. And he pulls Jorge's trousers down and he does him in the subway car. You cannot make this sick stuff up. So now he's arrested and charged with raping a corpse. So you know what? Mayor Adams insists that the subways are safe. And Sinatra insisted that if I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. But I want to tell you something. It's not even safe for a dead man to ride on the subway in New York City. And I did it for 14 years. You cannot make this stuff up. Okay? And speaking of Blue City Blues, here we got a story from the Prickster Chronicles, right? That goofball running Illinois. This happens in Chicago. A homeowner on the south side, Marco Velasquez, he decides he wants to sell his house. Nothing wrong with that. He gets a realtor. She starts to show it. A couple days into it, she calls him and she says, hey, there's two people living in this house who claim to be the real owners. And Marco says, they're not the real owners. Call the cops. Get them out of there. And the cops show up and the people show a fake deed that they have for the house. And the cops go to the realtor, you know what? Illinois has a state law that you cannot throw people out of the house. Squatters, you can't throw them out. You have to prove that they are legally either the owners or not the owners in court. And guess what? That takes months and it's very expensive. So Marco finds this information out from his realtor and he says to his wife, we're moving back to that house. We're going to move into that house with those people until they leave. So as you can imagine, it's a little tense in that house. And after a week, the squatters are not so comfortable there. So they say to Marco and his wife, tell you what, you pay us $8,000 and we'll get out. And so there was outrage and there was negotiation, and this went on over 2 days, and they got it down to $4,300. So only in a blue city does this kind of nonsense go on, where you got to pay these grifter jerks $4,300 to get out of the house that you own and you're just trying to sell. All right. Story number 4 is DC talk, and there's a lot of DC talk. And the big talk today is that Trump is making a deal, a trade deal with UK today, and it's going to be for farm goods and cars, and the Brits not taxing U.S. technology. And they're well on their way with making deals now with India, Israel, South Korea, Japan, and Vietnam. Okay, so go ahead, Donald, get it. Now, since rhinos killed the Pharma cap bill that we talked about yesterday, which was about the issue that drugs that Big Pharma comes out with are sold for one price in Europe, and we pay 400% more over here. So Trump says that's not going to happen. We're going to pay the same rate that Europe pays. Okay, we're not going to get jerked around by Big Pharma. So since Big Pharma pays off all the rhino senators and congressmen, they voted against the bill. They vote against Trump. They vote against the American people. So Trump says, next week, I'm signing an executive order to what we're calling the Pharma cap bill, and we're going to authorize that the intent of that bill that went before Congress is going to be done by executive order. Okay, so this is a declaration of war between Trump and Big Pharma. And Trump says, this is as big as it gets. He must have the receipts on all the rhino dark money that Big Pharma's been paying. Can't imagine why else he would do this, but let's go. Get your popcorn ready. Another DC talk. Carrie Lake announced that One America News will be the providing news feed service for Voice of America. This is fantastic news because the original mission of Voice of America was pro-America messaging, pro-democracy messaging, pro-freedom and liberty messaging to the whole world. And once Obama got into power, that all stopped. It became pro-Marxist, woke, you know, what they always do. So the messaging has been horrible since Obama, and now Harry Lake is turning that around, and that's fantastic. Doge got another great bust in. The African Development Foundation in DC, right? They get 45 million a year from US aid. So what do you think their leadership does? They find NGOs in Africa, they send them money, they tell them to take a tiny cut of the grant and then send the rest of it back to their personal accounts, their families' accounts, and to dem consulting firms. And they're all busted. So that's a great thing. Keep doing it, Doge. Legacy media constantly saying Doge is horrible. They're nuts. All right. The House passed a bill that would ban all Department of Homeland Security grants to colleges hosting Chinese Communist Party-based entities like the Confucius Institutes on their campuses, which are supposed to be Chinese language centers, but they function as industrial and military espionage centers, and colleges look the other way because China pays them fat money to sit there in the midst of American academia, which is a very wide open and lefty environment and very easy for them to exploit. And I saw this all over New York City. And we have to bring the heat on all of these Chinese entities that are in our country. And finally, great news, Trump had made a pick for Surgeon General, and let's just say her resume was not accurate. Okay, I wasn't happy with that pick. Anyway, I don't know how it got on his table. But now he's picking Dr. Casey Means. And if you want to find out who this woman is, watch Tucker Carlson's interview with her. He did it a couple months ago. And she is a fantastic nominee for this job, a great pick. So have a look at her and look forward to some great oversight on what's going on medically in our country. All right, let's see. Now we're on to number 5. Okay. Number 5 is about optics. All right, and it involves 2 entities, Google and Rome. Okay. What's Google announcing? Well, they're announcing that they're agreeing to build 3 nuclear power plants, right? This was all against the Green New Deal, all against the globalist Marxist regime. No, you can't have nuclear power. It's too dangerous. But now, because AI needs copious power to be able to operate, Google is okay with it. Now it's okay. They're going to build 3 600 megawatt sites each, right? And it's all just fine now because AI needs the power. Man, you can't make this stuff up. So what about Rome? They're doing an optical feint today too. Yesterday, they couldn't come up with a pope. Wow. They must be really praying hard and having discussions. Now they're coming back into the conclave today. okay? It's all BS, okay? It's exactly like our Congress meeting, recessing, and then passing a huge spending bill that we'd all be outraged about at 3 a.m. on a Saturday morning, right? We all miss it. We all miss it, and the news doesn't cover it. And we find out later, and it's too late. Well, the Cardinals are doing the same thing because they already know they're going to pick the wokest globalist who speaks Mandarin, but they want to act like they are really, really struggling with this to get the best pick for the Catholic Church. Don't buy it, okay? You can't trust Google, and you can't trust this College of Cardinals. They're going to make a huge mistake, and it's going to cost them the church. All right. Now, we're on to story number 6, and it has to do with a woman in Ohio who wrecked her car, and the police came to investigate. And in the front seat of her car was her pet raccoon named Chewy. And Chewy is holding a crack pipe in his mouth with both hands, and he doesn't want to give it up. You know, crack has that power. So the police go, what's this raccoon doing with a crack pipe? And eventually one of them said, well, if there's a crack pipe, there might be crack. Turns out there was a ton of drugs in that car, and it was a big drug operation, and you never would have suspected this woman, right? What can you say? A raccoon with a crack pipe in his hands, and that's that. So now, this is just a little public service warning this weekend, because I know the weather's getting nice. You're going to be cooking out, and I want you to know that there's something coming from outer space, right? It's the Cosmos spacecraft that was sent up by Russia 50 years ago to go to Venus, right? Cosmos 482, supposed to go to Venus 50 years ago. It's 1,050 pounds. And guess what? It was supposed to be so hard to get through the atmosphere of Venus that they put a giant heat shield on it. So it's not going to burn up when it comes back into our atmosphere this weekend. It's going to survive all 1,050 pounds of it. And there's some company called Leo Labs. That's a company that tracks space junk coming home. And they say at least once a week, we have a large object re-enter our atmosphere, and it makes it to the ground partly intact. But Cosmos is going to make it 100% intact. So keep your eye open later in the weekend, because Cosmos is coming. Thank you very much. Please like us. Please share us. Please have a great day at work, and God bless you.